LSU, no, they ain't ready for the LSU. We the best in the league if you looking for talent. LSU going hard, but we beat Alabama, then we going out to Florida. Drown the Gators, everybody getting bucked when we step in the stadium. This the LSU anthem, you know it's a hit. You don't know another rapper two-step like this. See me screaming out the window, yelling purple and gold. I'm an LSU fan, girl, you know how we roll now. Back and back it on up, hey. 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 Way down in the back.
Hey, we are live, coming off a big victory, Zach. Big victory. Zach, how are you feeling coming off of that? I know we'll get to it in a minute, but I mean, what are the feelings? Right?
We needed it. We needed it, and we'll get into why
we did need it.
we needed it bad for LSU's LSU fan base's the sanity for this Friday, specifically this Friday, because we all know what happened, unfortunately, earlier today in the baseball game, and we will obviously cover that.
We'll talk about it, though. We'll talk about it. I think there's a lot to talk about it. I think there's some things me and you we'll definitely discuss on that and maybe kind of debate a little bit back and forth, agree with, disagree with a little bit. You know, we'll discuss all that. I think that'll be a really good conversation for me and you. Well, for the podcast, I know me and you. Yeah, absolutely.
We may have a little bit of some disagreements with how this game went and stuff like that. And
love.
Yes,
love LSU sports.
We love LSU. So yeah, man, I am super pumped, bro. The thing is, Reagan, we probably need to ask the fans, our viewers here first. Do we knock out the bad and then discuss the good, or do we just jump right into the good and then discuss the bad later?
I mean,
they should let us know. Y'all let us know in the comments.
I see Ryan in here, so I know Ryan. Whatever Ryan, let's just say, since he's been so faithful, Zach, we will put it on Ryan.
What Ryan says? Okay.
Whatever Ryan says. Bad first, good later.
Good. I told you.
Man, come on, Ryan.
I told you they were going.
Come on, Ryan.
I told you.
We need to talk about the bad first. We need to get out the way.
He said, "Good."
Okay.
Good. That's what he wants to talk about. That's what he wants.
I guess we'll talk about the good, Zach. I guess we will. Hey, Zach. By the way, before we get in depth into the things that we really need to talk about, just a few things on the outside of the main focus of LSU right now, which it's still LSU, but like, you know, all things that we're really paying attention to. So LSU men's basketball season obviously ended in the SEC tournament. They were put out by Vanderbilt, and we all know, Zach, you know, I know, that you cannot rinse and repeat with this roster.
Yeah.
And we've already begun to see that happen. You've had 4, is it correct? 4. You had the 2 Justice Hill, Justice Williams exit, the 2 guards. You've had Kendall Coleman and Cornelius Williams, Cornelius Williams had a shoulder injury and was out for the season. He was a freshman, and he's making the transfer. And then Kendall Coleman was like a forward / big man somewhat that transferred in last year from Northwestern State. And Zach, I had high expectations for him, and obviously that just did not pan out. I think he ended up averaging like 2 points a game. Yeah. And coming into LSU, he had averaged a double-double at Northwestern State. So things didn't work out. Those 4 guys are now in the portal. And Zach, I mean, I can't sit here and name all the guys. I'm going to be honest with you. But go look at, I think it's Matthew Brune on Twitter. Look him up. He's with On3 Sports. And there's several other guys as well I've been looking at. I can't remember all their names, but I do remember Matthew Brune. They're giving out lists of teams that have been contacting transfers. And folks, Matt McMahon's been busy. I think Brune wrote an article, and it's been like 15 guys already that he's contacted in the transfer portal, and I would be willing to bet it may be even more than that. LSU's name on the list that I've been seeing of teams that have contacted players in the portal are a lot. I mean, he's busy. Matt McMahon knows what just happened and unfolded with this men's basketball season cannot happen again. And I don't, guys, Zach, I think you would agree with me on this. Like, I don't think this is the product that Matt McMahon expects to have whatsoever, like by any means, So he's expected to win. He wins a lot. He knows how to win. I think we're going to hit the portal and do a lot better next year. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he does in the portal because it seems like he's very busy. So enough of that. That's a little side news. Zach, LSU, Utah, 2 versus 3, Sweet 16 with a chance to move on. I mean, what an absolute game. I mean, an incredible game.
It was awesome, bro.
So what are your initial thoughts, Zach, coming off of that? Like your key moments, that you or key players or however you want to address it to this victory. I mean, absolutely incredible.
Well, I definitely don't want to take away your spotlight. So I will end by saying what I need to say.
Okay.
In regards to you. But look, dude, massive game. And, we have talked about it so much, the need for other players to contribute. And that happened today massively. And I'll let you discuss more of that because you're the one that called it. But the other thing is that we've also discussed that LSU drew a really good bracket. And we've seen the upsets happen in the bracket. Obviously, Miami has now advanced to the Elite Eight.
Correct.
So now you're looking at LSU and you're going, man, if we can get to the Elite Eight, we really like that matchup. And we'll discuss that more kind of near the tail end of the segment. But the matchup really bodes well for LSU in the Elite Eight versus Miami.
Right.
So what I was really worried about was this game right here. I was concerned about this game. Why? Because they match up really well against Angel Reese. They have Peely, who is a very good player. And luckily, LSU was able to go to the basket a lot and draw fouls and put her in foul trouble. She still had a great game. She had, I think it was 14 points on the night. Yeah, she was 4 of 8 for 14 points. You kind of limited her on the rebounds, though.
Yeah.
She only had 5 rebounds.
You had a height advantage on her. She had the physicality, but she didn't have the height.
She's got the physicality, man.
Right.
And it was really good to see LSU do well with that matchup, even though that was my biggest concern. Early on, they started fast, and early on, it looked like LSU was going to kind of run away with it. Then things started settling down, and it was just back and forth and back and forth and back and forth the whole way. Angel Reese continues to dominate, right? Her matchup, Peely, got a top 15 Wooden Award.
Yeah.
Angel Reese did not. Angel Reese won that battle tonight. She won the battle. She had 12 rebounds, 17 points. She was better in almost every single category. And Angel was the one that you left out of a Wooden Award finalist. And she beat. And that was with her in foul trouble. She was in foul trouble. She sat out the last almost 8 minutes of the first half, Reagan?
Yeah.
And what a phenomenal job by the bench. I know they didn't put up massive numbers. Like the bench, in fact, didn't put up any numbers. Jasmine Carson, which I found that kind of a little interesting. Jasmine Carson popped off in the Michigan game, and then she's not even a starter this game. I don't know, but something might be going on there. I don't want to be negative on a huge positive note that we're talking about, but Jasmine Carson popped off in last game against Michigan. She was a starter, and in this game doesn't start, hardly gets any minutes, and they put her in there when they had to put her in there. But that was very interesting to me. Maybe a little side story to follow. Anyway, but the bench gave you nothing. It was all of your starters. And what I loved about this game is when you needed people to step up, they did. Angel Reese did not have a great first half. She was in foul trouble. And who stepped up? Your veteran leaders. The people that aren't going to be here after this season, Alexis Morris, LaDazia Williams, they're not going to be here after this season.
Right.
They're gone. They're gone. And they played like it was going to be their last game. I mean, LaDazia Williams played like it was going to be her last game. Alexis Morris, down the stretch, did she hit a big shot? No, but she hit massively clutch free throws.
Yes, she did.
In order to give you the lead and then to clinch the win. Alexis Morris goes 4 for 4 down the stretch in the free throws, which, by the way, good dude. I don't care. I don't care what team it is. I don't care what the situation is, unless it is just completely blatant. I am sick and tired of the officials and the officiating putting the game, basically deciding the game. I mean, I hate that. I love that we got the foul call, which it was completely warranted. You know, when Angel Reese went up, she missed the shot. Alexis Morris goes for the rebound. She gets fouled. I mean, she gets smacked on the arm. Pele commits her fifth, and she's out. But then it's going to come down to the last shot. Utah is going to have to make a shot. Okay, I understand the foul call against LSU, and I know that sounds completely biased, but there was plenty enough time left for a game-deciding play by either team, right? That's what it was going to come down to. It was going to come down to LSU getting a stop on defense or Utah executing an offensive play and making a shot. And you call a foul. And you put the game is played. The refs place the game on a foul call going to the line. Nobody wants to watch that. Nobody wants to. Now, was it like completely like nerve-wracking?
Yeah, it was.
We're biting our teeth and you know, are biting our fingernails and pulling our teeth because it's about to come down to 2 free throws here, right? Yeah. Obviously. But first off, I hate the situation that the officials put the girl in. I mean, it's nerve-wracking, but I'd rather watch LSU get a really big defensive stop, or for Utah's side, they hit a game-winning shot. That's a lot more exciting than going to free throw line. Now, again, it's nerve-wracking. It's you're still nervous as all get out. And good grief, did LSU get blessed? Because I feel so bad for her. Bro, she airballed the first one.
I mean, it was the most, like I told you, ball don't lie moment. I mean, gotta be.
They should have called the foul. All ball.
Bro, it was a great block.
The only reason Alexis, I keep getting mixed up. The only reason Angel Reese made contact with the shooter is because she got a clean shot block. All ball.
She like high-fived her.
She clears it. She clears it. She blocked 2 of them in that moment. 2. She blocks the first shot. They get the rebound. The other girl goes up. She blocks the second one. Because of the block, her hand comes forward after the block, and they give each other like a little high five, like, ugh, and they call a foul. In that moment, I would appreciate a lot more if the officials would put it in their pocket. I did not like that foul call.
I mean, after you've already sent the ball, it should be the foul should not be called. A foul.
Period. Either way, they should have put it in their pocket, but they didn't. They tried to decide the game, and I did not appreciate that at all. But regardless, as you said, ball don't lie. First shot goes up, air ball, and then then you can breathe. Okay. Even if she makes this free throw, we're not out of it. We're going to have a shot to win.
Yeah.
And then she misses. And you get the rebound. Now, we'll say, Reagan, what confused me is they took a timeout.
Well, if you were watching, as soon as she airballed the first, Kim Mulkey wanted a timeout as soon as the second one went off. So that's what happened. She had initiated that with the officials beforehand. So Kim Mulkey's thinking is, okay, she's going to try and she's going to hit this, and then I want the timeout already so I can draw up a play for the game winner.
That's fair.
And that's how it played out.
Completely fair. I completely understand that, and that makes sense. But, you know, in the moment, I'm like, why didn't you just run up the clock?
Let it run out. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Like, it's 2 seconds, and nobody was around her when she got the rebound. Just start dribbling down the sideline. Like, that confused me. But man, like, what a game. What a game. Back and forth, multiple lead changes. Both teams got up as much as 7. You know, there was moments where you're like, oh gosh, like here we go. It feels like they're about to pull away. There's moments when, you know, it felt like we were about to pull away. Like it was just back and forth, a great college basketball game. And look, I was talking to some guys today, and they're like, you know, what you doing tonight? What you doing for the weekend? I was like, I'm going home and I'm watching the LSU women's basketball. And they're like, what? Like, why are you watching women's basketball? And I'm like, because it's good. It's really basketball. I'm enjoying it like that. But
absolutely,
like, and that's how it should be. Like LSU fans, like, if you're watching this and you haven't watched the girls basketball team play in this NCAA tournament, I don't know if I can call you a true LSU fan. I know that's a big statement. I know it might hurt your feelings, but I might have to call you a casual if you didn't watch the LSU women's basketball game today. Shots, I'm taking shots. You didn't watch the LSU women's basketball game today, I might have to call you a casual. Because what Kim Mulkey is doing, and with players like Alexis Morris and Angel Reese, how could you not want to watch this game? Massive, massive win for the Tigers. I'm so pumped for Sunday. Let's freaking go. We're going to the Elite Eight, Reagan. I'm going to shut up now so you can talk.
Yeah, and you're right. It was a great game in terms of just competitiveness. Yeah. LSU with
just for women's college basketball.
I mean, for the sport, it was, I mean, back-to-back games in this regional. Miami and Villanova and LSU and Utah both, you know, in a very similar fashion. I mean, just coming down to the wire, having to hit free throws, having, you know, calling timeouts. The way it works with basketball when it's close at the end of a game.
Nerve-wracking.
Really great. And, you know, we were I'm trying to remember how, I think we were like 7 points ahead, and there was like a few minutes to go, and Utah goes on a 9-0 run. Yes. A 9-0 run.
Like, you got to a point where you're like, oh, we're good. We're good.
Right.
We're on the clock.
LSU goes on Utah goes on a 9-0 run, and that's when they get to 63. Yeah. It's 63-61. Then LSU closes it out with 5 points, all off of free throws. And that's how you win your game. I mean, that's how important free throws are. I mean, that's how important they are. And Alexis Morris was huge. She was, you know, I think you mentioned it was 4 for 4. She was 6-7 on the day, but she was 4 for 4 at the very end, you know, when you needed her to be. You know what, at the beginning of the game, what was frustrating, what was really, like you said, Angel had a tough first half. But what was irritating me is the broadcast was recognizing that, but they were not recognizing that Peely was doing the same thing. They both had at the half 5 points, 4 rebounds. Both of them. Both of them. And they weren't recognizing that. Folks, if you want to talk like numbers, Peely really had an off game. Like, we handled Peely well. Peely, Howard, Peely, I'm keep saying Peely, whatever.
Pele, whatever.
Peely was averaging in the tournament so far 30 points a game. 30 points a game, and she had 14 tonight. It wasn't bad. Like, 14 points obviously is nothing to snuff at, but like, you
compared to what she was
doing, she was, you know, she was averaging, exactly, 30 points a game, and you hold her to 14. And so they really had to rely on their guard play, and they did. They did very well. The guards, obviously Palmer, and I really don't know how to pronounce her name. I think it's Neepkins. She puts up 20. She goes puts up the biggest on the team. I mean, their 3-point shooting was really good tonight, while LSU's was not. It was not the best tonight. But you got it done in the paint, you know, and that was our game. I told y'all last episode we were going to need someone to step up outside of Angel Reese. And I mentioned LaDazia Williams. LaDazia Williams was going to be crucial because, number one, she was going to be the one primarily on Peely. Because LaDazia is more physical than Angel is. She's she's more of a wall than Angel is. There's times, I'm not trying to talk bad about Angel by any means because she's amazing, but there's times when Angel can get bullied around by someone physical. You saw it with Aaliyah Boston, and you saw it a few times tonight with Peely. Whereas LaDaisia was a tougher, it was harder on Peely when LaDaisia was on her. And LaDaisia had a fantastic night, a team leading. Huh?
The up and unders that she had.
Oh my gosh, her paint moves were phenomenal. 24 points on the night. 24 points on the night. She really played well tonight. Like you were talking about her up and unders. Look at her field goals. Look at her field goals. She's 11 of 14. She was 11 of 14. She was fantastic tonight, and we needed it so bad. She said, Zach, in her post-game interview, she said, I didn't want to go home. I didn't want to go home. And she said, I know I'm a senior. She said, I'm a senior and I'm a leader and I needed to step up. And she said, my confidence was at an all-time high. So hat off to LaDaisia. I know that Angel had her double-double as she normally does, but my game ball goes to LaDaisia and what she did.
Agree, 100% agree.
Her play tonight was phenomenal. And again, I will continue to preach it. Like, she had 24 points tonight, and I still think she impacts the score and impacts the game more than the stat line shows you.
100%.
More than the stat line shows you. Yeah. She is a physical presence that is hard for teams to deal with. And I don't want to get ahead of myself, but when you go to face a team like South Carolina, you need her to have a performance like that.
For sure.
Like against Utah with the Pac-12 Player of the Year on the other team. LaDaisia Williams goes 24 points on her,
and holds her to 14.
She's
been scoring 30.
Exactly. So huge night for LaDaisia. Her height really was a problem for Peely. It really was, because every now and then Peely would be a little bit more physical than her, and she would get a bucket. But when LaDaisia stood her ground and was able to contest the shot, it was really hard for her to get over to the top of LaDaisia. She is so crucial to this run. LaDaisia is. She goes 10 for 10 the last game, and here she is now 24 points on the night. I cannot say enough about her. She is fantastic. But Angel Reese comes out in the second half after having 5 points, 4 rebounds, and goes 17 of 12. And she does what Angel Reese, needs to always do for this team to be successful.
Yeah. 12 points in the second half. It was massive.
Exactly. And she had 3 blocks, and she should have had 4. She really should have had the game-winning block.
Yeah.
It didn't play out that way.
That's the defensive play that I'm talking about. Yeah. Would you rather have a game-winning block, or would you rather have, we're going to the free throw line?
Absolutely. Exactly. And she played incredible. And Zach, what was so huge about that girl missing both of the free throws? Because if she hits the second one and it's tied, you are now playing overtime without Johnson, without Kateri Poole, and without Angel Reese. It was crucial that you close the game out in regulation. Yeah. Peely was the only one that fouled out for them. Now, I think we could have held our own in overtime because of that very fact. I think Samaya Smith could have matched up against Johnson, or not Johnson. Yes, Johnson. They're Johnson, not our Johnson. They're Johnson. Because that's who mainly was against. Oh my gosh! I just saw down goes Alabama. I got to go check that. Holy smokes! San Diego State put Alabama out. What? It is a good day. I don't care what happened with the baseball game. Today is a good day. Wow.
Hey, right place, right time.
Hey, Houston is down 72-58.
Oh my.
72-58. That would leave only one number one seed, right? Or that would be both of them. That would be all four of them gone,
I
right?
think so. Yeah, Purdue's out, Alabama's out,
Purdue's out, Alabama's out,
Who's the
and the one that's Purdue.
Kansas.
Who?
Kansas, right?
Kansas. Arkansas put them out. That's right.
Yeah,
so your last number one seed right now currently is down 14 points with 7 minutes to go. Wow.
Hey, someone would say that San Diego State was just playing at the right moment, at the right time, right place.
that really felt like a shot from Saban. That really, when he said that, I was like, ew. But then they had, they kind of had a PR. They kind of had a PR session with their social media. You remember? I don't know if you saw that or not, but Saban came over and talked to the basketball team and Nate Oates at one of their practices before they went off to the Sweet 16. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, this is a PR move after what's been happening.
Because Bama's been punishing their football players. I mean, there's been some issues with the football players getting
Did you see what happened with their freshmen?
Yeah.
141 miles per hour.
Yeah. I mean, was punished, and they're punishing it. And then you got the situation with Brandon Miller. And
bro, how in the world? What car are you driving to go 141?
I don't know. Something fast.
Bro, you are, if you make
a sports car,
how dangerous is that?
Extremely. Look, I've made some stupid mistakes in my life. I remember having the Camaro. I went 115 one time, and I felt like I was floating on air, and that if I just made the slightest turn, that I would,
But 141.
Yeah.
And he's a freshman. He's like 18, 19 years old.
Yep.
Bro.
I don't know if you hear, by the way, it is absolutely pouring right now.
Oh, yeah. It's bad storming over here, too.
Downpour.
Storms everywhere.
Y'all hope we don't get, lifted up into a tornado during the middle of this podcast here.
So, Zach, just to kind of finish up with women's basketball. So they win. Obviously, you're on to the Elite Eight. Kim Mulkey said she wanted to win one more game. Here she is now. She's won 2 more. And you are headed to the Elite Eight against a 9 seed.
The highest seed left.
The highest.
I said the lowest seed?
Other than us, right? Other than us. Well, this is it. This is it. This is the regional championship. Then you go to the Final Four.
You're talking about the bracket. I'm talking about in the whole tournament. Miami is the
lowest seed remaining.
I guess you say lowest.
I got you.
They're the highest number, lowest seed.
Okay. Yeah, the highest seed left, a 9 seed. Yeah. So, but Zach, like we talked about on the phone, like they're not there for no reason. Like they knocked off the number 1 seed in this bracket,
which was probably the lesser of all the number 1 seeds.
Right. And it was at Indiana. They did it at Indiana.
Yeah.
And they played Villanova. They knocked off Villanova, a 4 seed.
Great game, by the way, today.
Fantastic game. So you're going to have to go and you're going to have to face the Cavender twins over at Miami.
Good.
Zach, just to briefly talk, well, I guess we need to preview it a little bit because it's happening Sunday.
Yeah, we got to preview it for
Zach. I mean, you said you really liked our chances and you liked the matchup. Yes. Why do you like the matchup?
So their strength is their guards. They don't really have – they have bigs, but they don't have a big like Peely. They don't have a big like Angel Reese. They don't have a big like Aaliyah Boston, right? They don't have a big like who was the girl from Indiana? The number 54 girl. I don't know her name.
I can't.
They rely heavily on their guards. Those are some of their best players. Now
they don't really have a center. They have like 3 guards and 2 forwards.
Like LSU needs to feast in the paint on Sunday to LaDazia, to Angel Reese. I think Angel Reese will be able to have a better game against Miami than she did today against Utah. Now, look, I say that, and as you mentioned, they're there for a reason, right? So I might say that, and then they come out and they played the best game of the year for them, and they beat LSU. Like, they're there for a reason. It's March Madness. Teams upset teams, but it also just feels like maybe this is the spot where their luck runs out, right?
Yeah.
Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe. Being a 9 seed and then making it to the Final Four, that's
very rare.
That'd be very impressive by them. But it kind of feels like, that this is the spot where their luck runs out and, they're out of gas. We'll see. Again, I could say that, and then they come out and win the game. I hope I'm wrong. If that is the case, I hope they don't do that. But I really like the matchup. I think the bigs are going to have a really good night. The big thing for LSU, obviously, is going to be Alexis Morris, Flage Johnson. How do they play? How do they defend?
Yeah.
The threat from Miami's guards. Flage Johnson didn't have a great game. She had, and it was probably arguably her worst game of the season.
And he still won.
Still won. She turned the ball over 5 times. She missed every shot she put up. It was just not a good game for her. Would love to see a bounce back from her. You mentioned it. We've been mentioning it. People got to step up outside of Alexis Morris and Angel Reese, and it's been happening in this tournament. This game, LaDazia Williams, as you discussed and as you hinted at on the last podcast. Last game, it was Jasmine Carson. Jasmine Carson did nothing this game. Nothing. But last game, she went off for you. You got to have that continue to happen. Maybe Flage Johnson does that. Maybe it's Kateri Poole. Kateri Poole had a great game.
Yeah, she had a good game.
She had a great game. She was 2 of your 3 threes. That's another thing I want to see improve. You
got to hit some threes.
You got to hit some threes because they got guards that can hit threes.
Yes,
Miami's got the guards that can hit the threes, right? So you're going to have to do a better job at and LSU struggle with that today, Reagan. Let's go look at it. Hold on. Let me pull it up here. Are you talking
about from the 3?
Yes. Let's see if I can pull it up here. So from the 3, LSU was 3 of 13.
Brutal.
Utah 8 of 22. I understand that not terrible, but like early on, and I understand that later in the game, like that, LSU did a lot better job. But in the second and the third quarter, man, you struggled at times guarding the 3.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to do a better job at guarding the perimeter. You're going to have to do a better job at doing that this game against Miami. If you do that, and then if you have more threes go your way this game, with the mismatch that is inside the paint, I believe LSU should win this game, and I think it'll be an easier game for them than this Utah game. I really do feel that. I'm a lot more confident in this going into the Miami game. I really am. Then when you get if you win the Miami game, we'll talk about this obviously on Monday. If they win, then that's when things really get serious. But I think this was the one you needed to get. But in order to make it to the Final Four, I think this is the one you had to have, and you get it done. It wasn't perfect, dude. LSU was down to like no more scholarship basketball guards coming into the game. I mean, I forget the other guards, forgive me, that are on the team. But I mean, Kateri Poole fouls out, Flage Johnson fouls out. Obviously, Alexis Morris is already out there. Who's the 3 guards you're going to put out there? All you had left was Last and Jasmine Carson. I mean,
well, you could have put what's her? Oh man, Besselman. What's her first name? Lizzie.
I need to go look at it.
She's on scholarship, but she wasn't at one point. Like
you pretty much, Reagan. Pretty much after the 2 that you had to play, you're going down to walk-ons. Pretty much walk-ons. So like that. That got sketchy, as you mentioned. Like and it's a good point you made because I honestly didn't think about it until you mentioned it. Like winning in regulation was massive for LSU in this game.
It was huge.
That was a great point that you made. And so, you want to see better guard play. Hopefully they'll stay out of foul trouble more next game since they struggle with that this game. Flage fouled out, Kateri Poole fouled out, I keep saying Alexis Reese, Angel Reese fouled out. LaDazia had 3. So you need to do a better job at trying not to foul next game. We'll see how it goes, Reagan. I'm excited.
Yeah, really the only big physical presence they have is Lola Pendande, and she's 6'4", and she put up 6 points against Villanova. They have another forward that they play, but she's 6 foot. She did put up 15 points. So you expect her to be matched with Angel, and you expect Pendande to be matched up with LaDazia with her height, but you are better in the paint than them. I mean, their guard play, their guards scored 26, 5, 7, 6, 2, and 3. I mean, literally 21, 50.
Math is
I
hard.
think it's like 59 of their 70 points was from their guards.
Yeah.
So, you're not 59, 49. So you have to have better guard play in this next game. Defensively, I don't think they were terrible in this game, but you just need all around better guard play. So, Zach, we need to move on. I know there's a bunch of comments. Maybe we need to get some comments and then hit a quick break and then come back and discuss the unfortunate news.
Well, I think most of this is baseball.
Okay.
Comments. Now, Allie Boy did say that Jasmine is a streaky player, man. I agree.
True.
I do agree with that. So hopefully, she was on last game. She was off this game. Maybe she's on next game.
Sunday.
And that's exactly what you would need because you need the guard play to take a step up, as we just mentioned. Ryan said LaDay did hear thing and held thing. Oh, did hear thing. I don't know what you're saying, Ryan, but she held things together.
She held things down. Yeah.
That's what matters, man. Reagan hit the nail on the head with that, saying that LaDazia needed a big game today, and she delivered. Let's take a break, and then we will be back, and we will discuss the bad side of today.
5-Star Hero, your intro and outro music for the Tigers Avenue show. They ain't ready for that LSU. Go check out all his other music on all the major platforms. Don't forget to follow him on Instagram at Saints Anthem and at Twitter at One Nation Doty. Don't forget to check out his Facebook page for all his Saints and LSU merchandise. Can't get any better than Sarah Klein Stevens, attorney at law. Her firm focuses on the needs of the elderly and maintaining their dignity throughout the process. Here for you, here for your family. Sarah Klein Stevens, attorney at law.
Right back at it to discuss baseball. Obviously, a disappointing day here in Game 1. Really, the game was far closer than the score
For sure.
Presents it to be far closer. Obviously, they had an 8th run inning in the 10th. Arkansas did to put the game away. But you had an absolute pitcher's battle today.
Yes.
And what really stings the most about this is Paul Skeens went out there and just had a phenomenal performance. He did what he normally does, 12 strikeouts. I think he had 1 hit, 1 earned run, and of course, uncharacteristic of him, 3 walks in 1 inning. Really was his last inning of work and kind of just ran out of gas, I think.
Yeah.
A little uncharacteristic of him.
But he worked out.
But he worked out of it. Exactly. He got out of it without any damage done, and was fantastic. And you still lost the ball game, which really stinks, because you really want to capitalize on Paul Skeens as much as possible and capture the first game of the series just about every weekend with Paul Skeens on the mound. Your offense just did not do it today. They just didn't. I know we're going to hear from the lefties. We suck against lefties even more now. I still don't buy it. I think you faced 2 of the best lefties in the SEC today. You came into the game batting 300 against lefties. That's not bad. You batting 300 against lefties, and you scored 10 runs against lefties last weekend. You just faced probably 2 of the best lefties in like the SEC. And Dave Van Horn knows that, right? You're facing Paul Skeens. They're not as good against left-handed hitting. You're better against right-handed hitters. And I'm not going to sit here and act like that's not the reality. Reality is you are a better hitting team against right-handed pitchers, but that does not mean we suck against left-handed hitters. We can't just buy into every social media narrative, and then when something happens, we point to it and say, there it is. You have to let your statistic also back it up. And for me, it just doesn't back it up enough. You batted .222 against the lefties today. It wasn't great. But it wasn't like the worst ever. You battled, though. And it was, Zach, a pitching battle to, into the extra innings. Zach, the worst thing I think of today was base running. Two massive mistakes base running that really honestly cost you the game. If you think of Trey Morgan and what happened there, because you scored one run in the 8th off of Neil's homer, and then you wouldn't put them down in the 9th.
Correct.
So if Trey Morgan breaks for home and
immediately
and stays breaking, right, like doesn't held up or get caught up, he's probably there. And I did not like. I understand people at the plate have a good view. They have a good view of what is happening at the plate. But you also need to let your coach make the decision. In that moment, Jared Jones can't create confusion at the plate when it is runs are extremely hard to come by, and he does not need to be making the call at the plate, right? But he needs to be yielding to what Josh Jordan. He just needs to get out the way and let Josh Jordan communicate with Trey Morgan and make the play, because it affected it. He broke, he held up, and then broke again. You were dead. You were done for. You were done for. As soon as you held up, you were done for. Because it didn't get that far away from him. But if he broke and stayed, I think he's safe. I really do.
It's at least a lot closer.
Exactly. It will. I mean, it totally changes today. Like you've won if that plays out the way it should have. But again, I understand some of you will not be convinced of this, and that's fine. It really does not matter that much in the grand scheme of things. But please, look at the statistics of our batting against lefty. It is not that bad. You faced Arkansas's best pitcher today in Hagen Smith. Zach, the slider, dude.
Oh,
the slider
nasty.
Was unhittable pitch. They were calling it
coming right down the middle, and then it just dropped.
It falls off the face of the earth. I cannot he made our pitchers look silly.
Well,
it was just a good pitch.
And we had planned to try and get some Arkansas guys on, and I was talking to my buddy last night, Louie. So I'll give him a shout out. I wanted to talk with him before the game, and he said Hagen Smith is our best pitcher. He's our best
by far,
and he showed it today.
Yeah, and he just was, which I think plays into some of the decisions that were made in the bullpen for LSU, which we'll talk about the doubleheader, Zach. I think both of us agree about moving forward in the series. Where we sit is actually really good, but in terms of today, you just didn't execute. You made crucial mistakes. Joe Bear, what in the flying fladoodle are you doing at first base, falling asleep in a one-run game
with the guy on second,
with runners in scoring position, 2 outs, and I think it was the 7th inning.
It's not just the fact that you have a guy in scoring position. It's the fact that where are you going? Where are you going to go? There's a guy at second. You can't can't steal second.
and you're not that fast, anyways. Like
You're not gonna steal.
He got caught sleeping. I mean, he just got caught lacking, and you just got to tip your cap to the Arkansas catcher because he threw a bullet down there, and I mean, completely had him dead to rights. Zach, I mean, it just was the reality of it. But Zach, I mean, what are your I guess your thoughts on the game? I mean, Paul Skeens was amazing.
Yeah.
Your pitching, not your pitching. Your batting just didn't back it up because honestly, like what happened in the 10th inning, it absolutely sucks, but it should have never happened.
Yeah.
With the performance that Paul Skeens had.
So I've got 3 things I want to address with this game. I'll start with the lefty situation because I think we disagree a little. People coming out there and saying, "Oh, we suck," and I understand it. I've said it too, and it's an overreaction.
We are not as good, and I'd like that. We are not as
good, but I will say it. I do believe it is an issue. It is not we suck. It is an issue, but it's as it was mentioned, I think, on Chris Demui's 60-foot 6-inch LSU pod the other day. It's an issue for a lot of teams. It's an issue for a lot of teams. It's an issue for college baseball, hitters in all of college baseball. Now, I will say this. LSU is not good against lefties that can locate. We've seen them be able to hit on and get on base against guys against lefties that struggle with command a little bit. But the lefties that can pitch mid 80s to mid 90s and can locate, yes, LSU struggles with that. They do. So, I get both sides. And I do agree that I think it's an issue. I understand the argument about the batting average. I think some of that is because you have faced lefties that aren't SEC caliber. But then again, you look at the A&M game. They threw every freaking lefty at you that they could on Saturday, and you put up 12 runs.
Yeah.
So, but those lefties weren't Arkansas's lefties. Yeah. So down the stretch, are you going to face lefties that are near or at the caliber of Arkansas, and are they going to give you issues? Yes. Are you just going to be this complete crap team against lefties, and should there be this narrative that LSU can do nothing against lefties? No. Is it an issue? Yes. Is it a major flaw? I would say no.
Correct.
Right? So I understand what some people are saying. I've said the same thing. And in frustration, I've said, we suck against lefty. We suck against lefty. That's out of frustration.
Sure.
Do I fully believe that? No. Have I said it? Yes. When you're watching the game and again, I've said this before. I said this on Chris Demui's pod whenever I went on there. The reality is we're all fans at heart.
Yeah, we are.
We're all fans at heart, and sometimes being a fan at heart, you take away the reality a little bit sometimes. And you say some stupid stuff that you shouldn't say. But when you step back and you actually look at the numbers and you look at, how LSU is batting and how they're doing against lefties, it's not as bad as it be amount. Is it an issue? Yes, I fully agree. But is it as bad as some of these fans are making it out to be? No. I saw one fan today, Reagan, that posted, I think, in Tiger Droppings, and they're like, this team's not even going to make it out of a regional. Now, is that possible? Yes. Is it likely? No, it's not. LSU,
meltdown drives me crazy.
Yeah,
it drives me absolutely crazy.
I understand the frustration as a fan, but also you can't melt. There shouldn't be a melt.
Our fan base, we lose, guys. We've lost 3 games. Three.
We're good, and
we immediately are like, we're just same old. We're not going to do anything. Bro, you could so easily turn around tomorrow and win this series.
Sure.
And then all the fans will be on the mountaintop.
If you go out there tomorrow, if you lose the series, lose the game, or lose both games and you get swept, I can understand it. I can understand the frustration.
Sure.
Not a meltdown, because Arkansas is a really good team. But I can understand why fans. I understand why they're upset today. If you go out and you lose both games tomorrow, or you get beat in one of the games and you lose series, completely understand the frustration, especially in a series that's at home. The other thing I wanted to mention, Ray, was Chase Shores, because me and you disagreed on this whenever Chase Shores was brought into the game.
Right.
I questioned the fact that they brought in Chase Shores immediately after Paul Skeens, because he has struggled with command. And Reagan, you said, oh, he doesn't struggle with command. But
he had one outing, bad outing.
Chase Shores
against A&M
is second on the team in walks. So I think he struggles with command a little bit. He's second on the team in walks, Reagan.
Sure. Fine. That's fine. And how many is that? How many walks is that? 9.
Not 10.
Okay. And he's had like 3 starts, Zach.
But out of all the pitchers that you could have brought in, to bring Chase Shores in that moment, who last weekend struggled some with command, that concerned me. Here's what happened, though. He went out. He battled. He had to battle some because
I wish he would have stayed in longer.
He got a lot. He got into a lot of full counts, but he battled and he won almost all of those battles. He played a really good game. I was really nervous about it. There came a point where I was like, okay, here we go. Here's the drop off, and it didn't happen. Now did you hear that one? Did you hear that?
I did not.
Okay,
I didn't.
Maybe I just got a good mic, so you can't hear it. Man, there's like thunder, rain, everything going on right now in the background. But listen, phenomenal job by Chase Shores to come in and really, really close the door.
I wish Jay would have had a little bit more faith in him to extend there. Bring him in this moment, hold him out there.
I think in hindsight, it's easy to say that, but I also wouldn't have been completely opposed. Once you walk the guy, and then he went 2-0 or something like that, and then they pulled. I can't remember, or did they walk him and then I think
he walked him and then he pulled him.
I understand why Jay did that. I mean,
I do too.
I completely understand. I don't think I could say that I would have disagreed either way. I texted and said, I agree with this. I think it's the right move. But I don't think I would necessarily disagree if he had left him out there because of the way he was pitching. Unfortunately, this is 2 weekends in a row where you brought in your closer and he couldn't.
This is 2 weeks in a row. Chase Little back-to-back failed. I did go back and look, Zach. The A&M game. It was Shores. He walked a guy. He hit a guy. Little comes in, 4-pitch walk, loads him, and then he goes 2 strikeouts, and then the breakout happens.
Yes.
So this is 2 weekends now. The Chase, the Shores, then Little combo has not worked.
So maybe
you probably need to try something else.
I would really, especially in these SC games, I think, when you're in a situation like they were against Texas A&M. Now I understand against Texas A&M, they kind of exhaust him. Dude, Nate Ackenhausen, I still think they need to give him more looks, and probably more specifically in those situations. Another guy I want to see more in those situations, because you put him in them multiple times, but then come SEC, we haven't used them. Sam Dutton. We put Sam Dutton in those situations.
I want to see him more.
We put Sam Dutton in those situations multiple times before SEC play. And then when you get in the situation that you have put him in and try to train him for, when you get in those situations against SEC play, he hasn't showed up. Not against A&M and not against Arkansas today. So maybe a little bit of concern there with Jay's decision-making on the pitchers. I'm not saying, good grief, he's making the, terrible mistakes. I have faith in Jay, but maybe that's something he needs to look at. Maybe the hitting against lefties is also something he needs to look at more in depth. The last thing that I wanted to say about today was I still think there needs to be times where there's better situational at bats. When you're in the 8th, you've got bases loaded and Trey Morgan's up to bat. I really felt the way that Hagen Smith was pitching that at bat, I really felt he could have taken some more balls, even if they were strikes. I really felt like he could have taken some more balls further in that at bat and drawn a walk. I fully believe that.
It was hard to look off the slider. That was like, if you're able to be, which none of them were really able to be disciplined to do it. I think other than Dugas. I think Dugas was the only one.
Did it that inning. He did it that inning.
Yeah. None of them were able to hold off on the slider.
I really feel like Trey Morgan could have taken a better at B, but
sure,
he goes after two of them, and one gets fouled, the other one gets popped up in foul territory. You're out of the inning. You go to the ninth. It's over. So there's, you mentioned the base running blunders. There's the situational ABs where there was a couple times today where LSU had chances to get guys over, and you didn't. The strikeouts against good pitching continue to be a concern. 15,
I think it's going to be all year, Zach. I'm just going to be honest. I think it's going to be all year. I think that's how it is all year. I think I think it needs to get better. Like, I'm not disagreeing with you when I'm saying this, but like, I think that's who this team is. It needs to get better. There needs to be some better plate discipline. But like, this team is like a swing and miss team sometimes. I think that's just who they are.
Yeah,
you don't get a lot of contact ground ball outs with this team, like hardly at all.
Everything was almost everything today was fly outs or strikeout.
Yeah, I just think that's who this team is. I think it can get better, but like I think we're going to continue to see a high number of strikeouts. By the way, there is no longer a number one seed in this tournament.
Houston goes
down to Miami,
wow.
89 to 74. 75.
Wow.
89 to 75.
Wow. I need to go look at the girls and see how those games are going with Iowa right now, because I'm scared of Iowa, bro. I really am.
Iowa, I think, was losing last I saw.
I'm scared of Iowa, and I'm scared of South Carolina.
Iowa's up 4 with like 2 minutes to go.
Ooh, man.
Carolina and Iowa are on the opposite side of the bracket, though. So the only way you'll see them is in the championship game.
Correct.
Like, if you win and you go to the Final Four, you're likely looking at Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
Number one seed from the other bracket.
Virginia Tech's good. Yeah. So, anyways, back to baseball, Reagan. We need to move on to tomorrow. Today sucks. It's awful. You got to flush it. You get
2 games tomorrow.
You get 2 games tomorrow. And, luckily, I mentioned it before coming on the show. A lot of times you win game 1 of that doubleheader, there's a really good possibility you win game 2 because of it being the same day, because you're only, resting for 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours or so, and then you're going right back at it, and you're, the emotions and everything are still there from game 1. So LSU needs to go out tomorrow. The offense needs to show up. And the biggest thing we need to have tomorrow is your starters, your 2 starting pitchers, Ty Floyd and Thatcher Hurd. They have to have better outings than last week.
They need to extend.
They have to extend this weekend.
Yeah.
And I'll let you kind of talk more on this on tomorrow. That's my biggest thing for tomorrow is the starters got to extend longer than they did last weekend.
Yeah. Look, there is more left-handed pitching. Just FYI, there is more left-handed pitchers if they want to use them. But I think you're going to see a lot more right-handed pitchers going forward. And obviously that bodes well for LSU because obviously they hit better against right-handed pitchers. But you are now past
their best left.
Holden and Hagen Smith is done for the weekend. Hagen Smith is done for the weekend, and he's their best reliever by far. Arkansas, their staff has 3 pretty major injuries so far on the season, and you, with the way things played out today, are set up to be very, like, pitching-wise, if your starters do well, you have a great chance to win these games pitching-wise. I mean, guys, we didn't use Riley Cooper. We did not use Nate Ackenhausen.
Yeah.
You did not use Garrett Edwards. So you can really if you can capitalize on the fact that they have some injuries in their pitching staff, and now you're going to look at like not their best, right? Because you got their best today. I like the way it bodes for LSU tomorrow, Zach. I really do. And I mean, guys, if we think about it, the last time we just had a really bad game, and we lost, the next day we scored 18 runs.
Yep.
I know that was Sam Houston State, but the response from this team is typically very good. And I fully expect Ty Floyd, almost said Nick Floyd, and Thatcher Hurd to have much better weeks here in Baton Rouge rather than on the road at A&M, which is arguably one of the most hostile environments in the SEC.
The strike zone was not as bad today. There was. I gotta say, and I saw it mentioned a couple times. I gotta say, I disagree.
I did see something out in the comments.
I did not think. Let's see.
I didn't think it was that bad.
I didn't think it was that bad either. Now I do remember one call. It was, I think Paul Skeens was facing a righty, or maybe it was a lefty. No, it was a lefty, and he kind of painted the inside corner. Yeah. And I really thought he should have. No, maybe it was a righty. Either way, he painted the inside, outside, whichever one it was, corner, and I really thought it was there. The fans went absolutely berserk. That's honestly the only one time in the game where I was like, "Ooh, that's a bad call."
Yeah.
Other than that, I thought the officiating was pretty good.
I have to agree. I thought the strike zone really wasn't that bad today. I really don't think
how Saturday goes with both games.
Yeah,
we'll see.
You'll see. You do have a different crew than last weekend at A&M, so we'll see how it goes. But I like our chances, honestly, tomorrow. Let's not tap out on this team and think we're screwed. You could very well turn around. I mean, we know this lineup. We know that Ty Floyd and Thatcher Hurd can extend. We know they can have great outings. I mean, think about what Thatcher Hurd did at Texas on the road in that hostile environment. Tomorrow, you will have a better home field advantage than you had today. Obviously, game time gets moved. I still think there was a great crowd, but it affected it. Now you're going to have two games on a Saturday when folks are off work, and you can really have a home field advantage. And I still think that LSU can win this series. I really do. Go out tomorrow, play your butt off, and hopefully you can capitalize on some right-handed pitching. And you can be assured that you ain't got to face Hagen Smith in that slider again because he's done for the weekend. I mean, that was huge. That really was huge because I think, Zach, he was going to try and close it out. I think Van Horn was going to try and have him close it out and then start the third game, but I think he had to bring him in, and he had to extend longer than he needed to win the game, and he did it. And now he's shelved. So that really could play in your advantage. So we'll see how it plays out tomorrow. Don't tap out on the Tigers, guys. Like, this team is very stinking good. You know, Tommy White had a bad day. I really would like to see
Jones had a bad day.
Jared Jones. I would like to see Paxton Clean get a start. I didn't quite understand that decision, knowing that there was going to be two lefties, that you run Joe Bear out there. I know Paxton Clean had a bad weekend last weekend, but that doesn't mean that's always going to continue. You shelved him for 2 games. We saw what he did last time after you shelved him for a few games. He came out and he was probably your hottest hitter on the team, moves up to the leadoff spot, has a bad weekend. Now you've shelved him for 2 games. I'd like to see him come back tomorrow and try to respond after a bad weekend.
So Reagan,
go ahead.
In regards to tomorrow, what do you think? Do you think they split? Do you think we sweep?
Prediction-wise, if you win the first game, obviously if you win the first game, the crucial, obviously you have to win the first game to be able to win the series. But if you win the first game, I really like LSU's chances to win the series.
I agree.
Because they don't have, they coming into the weekend, they didn't even know who their starter is for game 3. So if you win tomorrow, you have a good chance because you're running Thatcher Hurd, and they're not even, it's TBD for game 3. So, don't tap out on them for this series.
I think they sweep tomorrow.
I would love that.
I think they sweep the doubleheader tomorrow.
It would be a huge comeback. I mean, that would be huge.
Either way, I think either Arkansas's. Either way, I think whoever wins the first game is going to win the second game.
Really? So you think we make it get swept if Arkansas?
I think either tomorrow we're going to get swept on the series, or we're
going to get swept.
I really believe that. But I believe LSU wins both games tomorrow, and we get the series wins. Let's get some comments, Reagan. Then we can take a break and wrap up. Peyton, obviously, loving the baseball. He's all in here on the baseball. He said Jared Jones and lefties equals a bad day. So far, yes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it is true. Carl Dunn said LSU needs to get into the bullpen early tomorrow. Best reliever for Hogs is done for the weekend. Yeah, I mean, if you can get into the bullpen early tomorrow, I mean, the job that you did today and getting rid of their 2 best pitchers on the staff right now is really good.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we've got in here. That might be all. Adam B said, when you say lack of execution, what do you mean lack of being able to hit good to decent lefties? I guess that was a comment to somebody else.
That was Peyton.
Ryan said,
Adam B and Peyton been going back and forth a little bit.
They go back and forth.
All on Twitter today. They did it last time in the show.
I love it.
So, yeah.
All right. I end the show going back and forth. Okay. Peyton, he's with you. He's with you, Reagan. I will say it and continue to say it. The team doesn't suck against lefties. Certain players do. And JJ keeps putting them out there. Please go look up Dylan Cruz, Dugas, etc. against the lefties.
Against lefty pitchers, if you know it is a good left-handed pitcher, Jay Johnson probably needs to edit the lineup. He does.
Yes, I agree. All right, Reagan, let's take a quick break, and then we can be back to wrap the show. Hey, before we go, though, how you like the new setup? You like
I like it.
Little corner
I mean, you can show the picture behind us a little bit better.
Exactly. You can show the picture a little
good
bit.
stuff. Good stuff.
Maybe I'll create something to where I can put, like one picture up here and then one other picture.
Right.
I don't know. We'll play around with it. We'll mess around with it. We'll see. Regardless, we're going to take a quick break and then we'll be back to wrap up the show.
Make sure you go follow us on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, all at Tigers Avenue, for daily updates on the show and all things LSU sports. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to click off and hit that subscribe button at Tigers Avenue. We broadcast all of our shows live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter.
All right, guys, right back here in the Tigers Avenue to wrap things up. Been a great show. We really appreciate all of your comments and your interaction. We love it as always. Always try to get to as many comments as possible. Y'all really been having it popping here lately, so we really appreciate it. So, guys, it's been a great night. Alabama, the number 1 seed, goes down. It's always a great night when Alabama loses. And the Lady Tigers, obviously, they're going to the Elite 8. Super excited for Kim Mulkey and the Lady Tigers. Going to be a great Sunday to watch them in the Elite 8 against Miami with a potential Final Four appearance if you can get things done on Sunday. Really excited about that. I mean, this is what we expected from Kim Mulkey, and she is fulfilling. We're year 2, and we're Elite 8. I mean, fantastic stuff from Kim Mulkey. And I really needed to seal the deal. I said she would be the next national champion at LSU, and I want it. Dadgummit. We'll see how it plays out. Obviously, they got a few more games for that to happen. 3 to be exact, if they want to be national champions. But really excited about Kim Mulkey and what she's doing. LSU Tigers doubleheader tomorrow. Just in case you don't know, first pitch for the first game is at 1 o'clock tomorrow, and then the second game will start at 6:30. 1 o'clock and then 6:30 for the doubleheader tomorrow. We'll see how it plays out, guys. Obviously, today didn't go how we wanted it to. Maybe the boys will turn it around tomorrow and capitalize on a home series against Arkansas, top 5 matchup, and get the thing done tomorrow. Hopefully so. Maybe there'll be some right-handed pitchers. Then we'll all be happy, and we won't have to worry about left-handed pitchers and whether we suck against them or not. Maybe we'll just hit 13 runs in each game, and we'll win the series and move on. Here's to us winning tomorrow by a whole lot, because I'm sick of Arkansas. I feel like for a while now, Arkansas has had our number in baseball. So I really want these 2 games tomorrow because I'm sick of losing to them. So we'll see how it plays out tomorrow. We'll be back here in the Tigers Avenue. Well, I probably will not be. So me and Zach will have to discuss that, because I'm probably going to be having a baby. Oh, not probably. I will be having a baby if he doesn't come before then on Tuesday. So we'll have to figure all that out and how that's going to play out next week with the show and having a baby and whatnot. So we'll keep you updated. But next time we're here, we will discuss it all in the Tigers Avenue. Appreciate y'all. 5 Star Hero, take us out. Peace.